Ebenezer Scrooge was a tight-fisted, squeezing, wrenching, miserable old sinner. He was in the counting-house of Scrooge and Marley one biting cold Christmas Eve afternoon. His partner, Jacob Marley, was long since dead. He'd been dead 7 years that very day. Now, sitting at a desk was Scrooge's long-suffering clerk, Bob Cratchit, copying letters. There was a small fire, but it consisted of just one piece of coal, and Scrooge would not let his employee replenish it, so poor Bob tried to keep warm from the heat of the candle. Now Scrooge was interrupted that very afternoon by the arrival of his nephew Fred, who joyously proclaimed the season's greetings. "Merry Christmas." "Bah, humbug. What's Christmas but a time for feeling another year older and not a penny richer? If I could work my will, nephew, every idiot that goes around with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own plum pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. And yet I suppose you'll still be inviting me to come and join you and your family for Christmas dinner. You keep Christmas your way, let me keep it mine. Good afternoon." No sooner had he gone than a gentleman arrived with a tin, collecting for apparently the poor and the destitute. "How much can you put me down for?" "Nothing." "Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? And if they'd rather die, then let them. We can then decrease the surplus population." "I suppose you'll be wanting tomorrow afternoon off, Cratchit." "All day?" "Be off with you, but be back at your desk 9 o'clock sharp, Boxing Day morning." And Scrooge set off home through the shadows of the night as if it were any other night. After a bowl of gruel to save on fuel, Scrooge climbed the bare wooden stairs to his bedchamber. Merry Christmas. Humbug. He made sure all the doors and windows were secure, and settled down for to sleep, disturbed by a visitation from the ghost of Jacob Marley, come to warn Ebenezer if he did not change his avaricious ways, he too would be condemned to walk in this earth, weighted down with chains and padlocks and cash boxes. Marley would send Scrooge 3 spirits over the next 3 nights, one last chance for his redemption. And the first was there, a fresh-faced, angelic-looking spirit who led Scrooge on a journey into Christmases of his own past. "That looks like my old boarding school. The parents are here, come to collect their boys. All except for one little boy left behind. I know that boy, it was me. Nobody came to collect me that Christmas. Why, there's Belle. I remember I got down on one knee and proposed, and Belle turned me down. Of course she did. She realised my lust for money eclipsed any love I could offer, and she broke off the engagement before it began. And there's a spirit dressed in green, come to show Scrooge how Christmas will unfold that very year. There's Mrs. Cratchit making a feast. How does she manage it on the 15 shillings a week I pay her husband? All the family all around her, so many, so happy. But there's a little boy with a crutch, a courageous boy, good as gold. What's his name? Tiny Tim, but Bob never explained. And the spirit showed Scrooge 2 more children, a little boy, ignorance, a little girl, want, wretched, abject, miserable children, through no fault of their own. But, Spirit, are there no refuges for them? There was to be no rest for the wicked, a third and final visitation. This spectre, shrouded in black, led Scrooge into the churchyard. Why, I see a grave left untended, uncared for, close enough to read the name carved in stone, Ebenezer Scrooge. Will I only be remembered, Spirit, for my miserly penny pinching? Scrooge awoke with a start. He thought he'd seen in his mind's eye the crutch leaning in the corner at the Cratchit household without an owner. No. If I were to honour Christmas, could I change these shadows? I am alive and well. I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy. I am as giddy as a drunken man. I do not know what day of the month it is. I shall open the window and look out into the street. Why, there's a little boy. I say, fine young fellow, what's today? Christmas Day? I've not missed it. Why, the spirits must have done it all in one night. Do you know the poulterers on the next street corner? Of course he does. An intelligent boy. Have they still got the prize turkey hanging there? Would you tell the man I should like it? Bring him here, and I'll give you a shilling. I'll give him directions. Bring him back in less than 5 minutes. I'll give you half a crown. And the little boy was off like a shot. And Scrooge had good reason to get dressed for Christmas Day. Nephew, am I still welcome for Christmas dinner? Scrooge sat down with his extended family. And tucked into turkey with all the trimmings, followed by plum pudding and custard. And after dinner there were party games. It was a family tradition. And who do you think was chosen to be it in Blind Man's Buff this year? Uncle Scrooge! Oh, wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful happiness, wonderful unanimity. But the next day was Boxing Day, and Ebenezer Scrooge was back in the counting house early. 9 o'clock. No Bob Cratchit. 1:15. No Bob. Scrooge's clerk arrived for work 18 minutes late. Scrooge hid behind a familiar scowl. "And what do you mean by coming in at this time? Making merry, were we, yesterday? Well, I'm not going to stand for it any longer, and therefore I'm about to raise your salary, Bob Cratchit. A merrier Christmas than I've given you for many a year. Now, take some money, make up the fires, go and buy a new coal scuttle. I shall endeavour to look after you and your family. We shall discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a steaming hot bowl of punch." Now, Ebenezer Scrooge was as good as his word. Everybody said so. But the last word has to go to Bob Cratchit's courageous little boy, Tiny Tim, who did not die. He was alive and well, and he waited till all the family were gathered together, and in his boldest voice he said, "God bless us, everyone. Merry Christmas."